What we have here is a Pontiac G6 that has a bad wheel bearing. I'm going to show you how to replace that today. The first thing you want to do is chock the wheels on the opposite side, apply the parking brake, and you do not have the assistance of air tools. You will need to break the loose the lug nuts as well as the axle nut before jacking the vehicle up. First thing what we'll do is put the vehicle in park, apply the parking brake, and then chock the wheels on the opposite side of the vehicle. I'm going to jack the vehicle up, place it on jack stands, and remove the tire. On the back side of the steering knuckle bolts the caliper and caliper bracket. We will remove that all as one assembly. It is a 15 millimeter, and there is a bolt on the top here as well as on the bottom, and I'm going to go ahead and remove those. Once those two bolts are removed, I will take and suspend the entire caliper and bracket assembly by a wire hanging from the strut tower. Next, what I'll do is remove the rotor and the axle nut. On the back side, we will remove the weather pack connector for the ABS, and then there are three 13 millimeter bolts that go into the steering knuckle, and we'll go ahead and break those loose. On the very top one, you'll need a 6-inch extension to get past the half shaft. It helps for the top bolt here. If your extension has one of these, it's a little wobble thing that will help you give a little bit of offset, and it's very helpful there. It's not completely necessary, but it just gives you that little extra room. Next, what we'll do is we'll take a soft hammer and hit the axle and make sure it's free from the steering or the from the wheel bearing hub assembly, and then we'll go ahead and put a puller on here and use a slide hammer and pull that bearing out of there. What I have attached here is a homemade puller plate onto a slide hammer. You can get a slide hammer on a Loan-A-Tool program at most automotive stores for free, and it has a hub puller that attaches around the hub and is tall enough. However, I don't have that, so I'm just going to go ahead and use a slide hammer on this. Now that the bearing has separated from the steering knuckle here, I'm going to take a piece of sandpaper and clean up the surface here where the new one will mount, making sure that I have the shim in place, and then we'll go ahead and install the new wheel bearing. Now that I cleaned up the surface here, I put a small amount of axle grease on the spline for the half shaft. It's not completely necessary, but just in case we have to replace the wheel bearing again, it'll slide off a lot easier. Do not get any on the threads if you decide to do that. The back side of the new wheel bearing will have a plastic retainer here that is just disposable, and when you put the shim on, this hole here goes on the bottom here to allow the lower ball joint here to be able to pass through it. This will only fit on in one direction, and we'll go ahead and feed the wire through for the ABS, and we'll go ahead and bolt this on. I will take some thread locker and place it on the ends of the bolts here, and tighten them down. Next, we will take and snap the wiring harness together and place it in the little holder here for the ABS. Next, what I'll do is put the axle nut on, and the final torquing on that will be 159 foot-pounds or 215 Newton meters. I'm going to take some brake clean, spray down the rotor, reinstall the caliper. I'm going to take some thread locker and put it on the caliper bracket bolts and tighten those down. Now that the caliper bracket bolts are tightened down, what I'll go ahead and do is go ahead and reinstall the wheel, and we'll set the vehicle on the ground. We'll torque the lug nuts and the axle nut to the final torque, and then we'll remove the blocks of wood on the other side and take it off the jack and jack stand, obviously, and we're all done.